Hey, what's up, everyone? So, thanks for getting involved in my first time in the recording studio experience when I was 16 years old. Um, you guys really got involved. I want to get your input on what, for each song, who you thought maybe we were influenced by. It could have been the whole band or me as a guitar player in the solos. So I'm going to list all four. A few interesting ones in there that I didn't foresee. Um, Actually, hold on because there's a. Oh, never mind. I'll just explain when I get there. So I think this is the order that I uploaded them to the channel. The first song was "Let Me Go Away," and that was kind of our commercially hit sounding song. And I would say the influences that I was feeling at the time were Dokken, Dio, Scorpions, Michael Schenker, and Randy Rhoads. Um, Solo wise, definitely, I remember what was going through my mind is I remember hearing "In My Dreams" from Dokken and just being mesmerized by the solo that George Lynch did, and I kind of was trying to go for that feel in that song. At that time, I was also huge into Vivian Campbell and the work he did on the first two Dio albums. So there's touches of him in the solo as well. Scorpions, pretty consistently, some of the little octave harmonic melodies and stuff that were going on, octave melodies. But anyways, really fun song to do. People, that was probably one of the favorites out of the four songs we did. When I say Rhodes, I mean more so in the solo, being influenced a lot by Randy Rhoads. Surprisingly, Eddie Van Halen's not in any of these, but these were just four songs that we did. This band Antioch went on to do a lot of songs. We just happened to record these four, and then we split off. Had a member change, different singer, and changed it to Rags to Riches, and we went more bluesy. Guns N' Roses had just come out, Appetite for Destruction. But anyways, back to the task at hand. The second song that I put up, I think, was "Let It Go." That one was definitely influenced by Stryper. Um, I don't know if it was, I think, the way that kind of influenced me rhythmically on that. I also put down Dio, Scorpions, Michael Schenker. When I say Scorpions, I'm a big Matthias Jabs fan. So I always liked his approach to playing because he had that technical aspect, but he was very melodic. Just kind of a prototype of Michael Schenker, but I've always been a huge fan of Matthias, um, solo wise, and some of our rhythmic stuff, and Randy Rhoads. And once again, that would be more so not in the song construction, but I'd say in the soloing. The third song I put up was "No Turning Back Now." That one I was a little bit inspired by Queensryche, the song "Queen of the Reich." I just remember that was the first song I'd ever heard from Queensryche, and so I remember that going through my mind writing that song. A little bit of Malmsteen too, and my cousin Charlie, the singer, he kind of, I don't know, some of his screams reminded me of Jeff Scott Soto, who's one of my favorite singers, who sang with Malmsteen on Rising Force, and a little bit of Rob Halford once in a while too. And Scorps again in there, and it helped having Les, my buddy Les on bass. He's just a solid bass player. So, he it really kept that pocket, driving for us, and he worked very well with our drummer Dave, and my cousin Charlie was the singer. So the fourth song, which is my personal least favorite, we threw this song called "Only You." There's a few little timing issues in it, and I remember Ray Ogawa, rest in peace, brother. He passed away not too long ago. He was working with Ronnie Dio at the time and Vivian Campbell, in the studio and live, and he was his amp guy. So he would dial in tone, and he's the one that dialed in my Marshall Lead 100 MOSFET, which really is a cheaper, not a super great Marshall amp. I mean, I liked it and everything, but it wasn't like an expensive one. And he was excited when I brought that into Studio One. He said, "Oh, can you let me dial in your tone?" And I was like, "Sure." And then he told me who he worked with. So when you listen to the guitar tone, I think it's really, really good. And that's because of Ray Ogawa. If you ever watched the Hearing Aid Project, um, there's a video of it and the making of it. Ray Ogawa is actually in there in the control room. I don't know if it's when Vivian was soloing or Malmsteen, but I recognized him in there. Really nice dude. His sister later ended up taking guitar lessons from me. Um, but that song, Only You, I remember also because it was a throw together at the last minute. Not a throw together. We had like the ideas, but we were like, we have enough money to do another song. Which one are we going to do? And this song wasn't completed. And I still remember to this day, Ray. There was a engineer and Ray. Ray was the one really kind of involved, um, and he threw out the idea of it needed something in it. So if you listen in that song where it goes down, 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 I see right through your eyes, that goes into the solo. But that was kind of an idea that came from Ray and Les and Charlie and Dave. I don't know if you guys even remember that, but we ended up working that out in a couple minutes in the studio because he felt like it needed something to bridge it, like a half-time groove or something. And and what he used for an example was Deep Purple. Um, to burn, but you'll hear a dun, only you. That part was like spur of the moment, and then the part down, 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 but that was thrown in right there on the spot, and we said, okay, let's hit record and do it. So when I listened to all four of them, I just remember, that would be a little shaky. We wanted to get that fourth song in there, and that's the one that we did. It's still a cool song, but um, there's some parts of the vocals are flat and a few little timing issues. But, 15, 16 years old, when we did it. So the common thread for me as a guitar player, most of you guys nailed it. But a few of you guys threw out some bands. I was like, whoa. Oh, and I know what I was going to say. There was one song, and I don't remember if it was Only You. I can't remember, but where it actually had a Barren Cross vibe to it. I don't know if you guys remember a band called Barren Cross. And I liked them because they were almost like the Christian version of Iron Maiden. And my band was called Antioch. We're a Christian rock metal band. But, obviously Stryper was a huge influence on me because when I became a Christian, I was young. I was 10 years old. I wasn't even playing guitar yet. So a couple of years later, I started playing, and boom, Stryper came out. So it was like the perfect band, perfect time. And so Stryper was a big influence on the whole band. Not just me, but I remember Dave, our drummer, just, doing the Robert Sweet fills and riffs. And, my cousin had that melodic voice, so he can do a lot of the catchy, melodies and stuff. And one last point, I remember, I always felt like I could sing, but I was too shy to do it. I mean, it took me literally till I was about 30 years old to step up and actually be a lead singer in a band. My guitar is always been my security blanket, but I remember being in the studio and there was a certain song. It was No Turning Back Now. No turning back now. And there's a part in there where now, my cousin's hitting these high notes, and I was hearing this vocal split, but being too shy to bring it up in the studio. And I said, Charlie, come outside. I hear this. So we worked on those little vocals outside the studio, and then he went in the studio and did it, But I always heard things in my head, man. And I always hit my head with a pin, too. But common thread, man, definitely Dokken and George Lynch, Scorpions with Matthias, Randy Rhoads in the lead department, Michael Schenker, who kind of I throw in with the Scorpions, Malmsteen, I've been a big fan of my whole life, but just that one song, it's got that Malmsteen vibe, No Turning Back Now. And Dio, for sure, because at the time I was, I had one wall in my room dedicated to Vivian Campbell posters, man, so, and then Matthias on another wall, and Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen. So there you go. There's where my mindset was during the recording of our studio session, our first studio session back in 1986. It's Studio One in Riverside, California. So thanks for getting involved with it. You guys have been asking me if I was ever going to explain where I was coming from, but read some of the comments, man. There was some bands that I was like surprised, and then you had me thinking, and then listening, going, "Oh, I can kind of hear that." So it's really cool to hear your guys' perspective, and I like to get you guys involved on that. It was fun. Had a good time doing it. Be sure to subscribe, all right, to the channel. If you're not a subscriber, it'll take you a second. Just log in, hit subscribe. It's a very active channel. If you're a subscriber, of course, you can make a request. I've got thousands of them, but hey, make the request anyways. It might be yours that I pick next. Add me on Facebook. I'm doing the Facebook Live thing now. Ever since I played, and that's another thing. You know, if you would have told me back then I'd be on stage with Striper someday, like I was 3 weeks ago, would have said, "You're crazy." You know, they were kind of my heroes. I had several. They were one of them. But with their Christian message, and I thought that their music didn't really sound like nobody else. Like Striper had their own thing, and it just hit. They hit me with the message and the music and their tone. I still listen to the first Striper album, loud and clear, and I'm like, man, just the tone of it, you know. So they're a good produced band, good guys too. It's fun playing with them. Add me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. If you're interested in some private instruction, I do teach on Skype around the world, guitar and bass. My wife teaches vocals. I offer CVT lessons, CT lessons, priority prepaid. Look that stuff up if you're interested, all right? Till next time, I'm Mike Rose. Keep rocking.